Brothers and sisters, living by faith is not just a concept, it is a way of life. It is a principle that transforms ordinary routines into extraordinary journeys. Faith is what gives us strength when challenges surround us, courage when fear approaches, and hope when despair threatens to overwhelm us. Yet, many of us struggle to live daily by faith, not because we lack belief, but because we are unsure how to make it practical in everyday life. Today, we will explore how to live every day by faith in ways that bring us closer to Allah and transform our hearts, minds, and actions. The first step in living daily by faith is trusting in Allah completely. When we wake up every morning, we are stepping into a day that Allah has already planned for us. Our faith tells us that whatever comes, whether it is ease or difficulty, has a purpose. We must remember that trusting Allah is not passive, it is active. It means making decisions with sincerity, taking steps forward, and then leaving the outcome in Allah's hands. For example, when a person applies for a job, they prepare their resume, attend the interview, and do everything within their power to succeed, but they trust Allah with the results. Faith is the anchor that keeps us steady when the winds of uncertainty blow. Secondly, living by faith requires consistency in worship and remembrance. Faith is strengthened through regular prayers, reading the Quran, and keeping Allah in our hearts. When we start the day with Fajr prayer, when we remember Allah in every action, we cultivate a mindset that sees beyond the immediate, that trusts in Allah's wisdom, and that finds peace in every circumstance. It is in these small, consistent acts of devotion that our faith becomes part of our daily rhythm. We don't have to do grand gestures. Even a smile, a kind word, or a silent prayer can demonstrate faith in action. Thirdly, to live daily by faith, we must approach life with gratitude and patience. Gratitude reminds us that Allah is constantly providing, even when it seems we have little. Patience ensures that we endure hardships with dignity, knowing that Allah tests us for a purpose. Life is full of trials, but those who live by faith see trials as opportunities, as lessons to build character, to draw nearer to Allah, and to grow spiritually. A person with faith does not complain about delays, failures, or challenges. They respond with patience and gratitude, knowing that Allah's plan is perfect and timing is always right. Another essential aspect is speaking and acting with faith. Faith is not just in the heart, it is expressed through words and deeds. When we speak positively, when we encourage others, and when we act with integrity, we demonstrate that our faith is alive. This means avoiding negative talk, gossip, and fear-based decisions. Faith is about believing that with Allah, all things are possible. It is about taking steps forward in confidence, even when circumstances seem difficult. Every action, no matter how small, can be an expression of trust in Allah, from giving charity quietly to helping someone in need. Finally, living daily by faith requires letting go of worry and fear. Many people struggle because they focus on what might go wrong, rather than trusting Allah's guidance. Faith allows us to shift our focus from fear to hope, from doubt to trust. When we let go of fear, we create space for faith to flourish. This does not mean we stop planning or preparing. It means that after doing our best, we leave the results with Allah, knowing that whatever comes is for our benefit in ways we may not yet see. Faith teaches us to walk through life with confidence, peace, and serenity. Living daily by faith is a journey. It begins with small steps, with conscious choices to trust Allah, to worship regularly, to be patient, to speak and act with faith, and to release fear and worry. When we integrate these principles into our daily lives, we start to experience a transformation that touches every aspect of our existence, our hearts, our minds, our relationships, and our actions. Faith becomes not just something we believe in, but a practical living reality that shapes who we are and how we navigate life. Remember, brothers and sisters, faith is not a temporary shield for hard times. It is a daily companion. It is what allows us to smile in difficulty, to remain hopeful in uncertainty, and to act with courage in the face of challenges. Each day is an opportunity to live by faith, to trust Allah, and to embody the principles that elevate our souls. Complete trust in Allah in every aspect of life is the foundation of living by faith. It is not merely a statement we make with our tongues, but a profound conviction that settles deep within our hearts, guiding our decisions, shaping our responses, and bringing peace amidst uncertainty. Trusting Allah completely means acknowledging that He is the all-knowing, the all-wise, the most merciful, and that everything that happens in our lives, whether we perceive it as good or bad, is ultimately part of His perfect plan. When we wake up each morning, we step into a world full of unknowns, a day whose challenges, opportunities, and encounters are not fully in our control, yet faith tells us that Allah has already determined what is best for us. This realization is powerful because it allows us to navigate life with confidence and serenity, knowing that no matter what occurs, we are never alone and nothing happens without Allah's permission. To trust Allah completely, one must first develop a deep understanding of His attributes. Allah is Al-Qadir, the all-powerful, and Al-Hakim, the all-wise. This means that He has the power to do all things and the wisdom to decree what is best for His creation. When we internalize this reality, we recognize that even when events seem unfair, confusing, or painful, there is wisdom behind them that may not be immediately apparent. For instance, a person may experience a setback in their career, a delay in marriage, or a health challenge, and it is natural for the human mind to question, to feel anxious, or even to despair. Yet faith teaches us to pause, to reflect, and to remind ourselves that Allah's knowledge is beyond our understanding, and that His plan is far greater than what we can imagine. Trusting Allah completely means relinquishing the illusion of total control over our lives and surrendering to His divine wisdom with humility and acceptance. Another dimension of complete trust in Allah is the active nature of this trust. True faith does not encourage passivity or laziness. Rather, it motivates us to do our part while leaving the outcome to Allah. For example, when a student prepares for an exam, they must study diligently, revise thoroughly, and put forth their best effort. At the same time, they trust Allah with the results, knowing that their effort combined with Allah's decree will determine the outcome. Similarly, when a person starts a business, they plan carefully, work tirelessly, and make informed decisions, yet they understand that ultimate success or failure rests in Allah's hands. This balance of effort and reliance is the essence of complete trust. It teaches us responsibility where cultivating a heart free from anxiety over what we cannot control. Living with complete trust in Allah also transforms our response to challenges. Life is unpredictable and difficulties are inevitable. Some challenges are small, like everyday inconveniences, while others are monumental, like loss, illness, or betrayal. When we have complete trust in Allah, our hearts remain anchored even in the midst of storms. We understand that trials are not punishments but opportunities for growth, patience, and spiritual elevation. This perspective shifts our focus from despair to hope. It allows us to say, if Allah wills, this will pass, and if Allah wills, goodness will emerge even from this difficulty. Trust in Allah nurtures resilience because it reassures us that no challenge is greater than His wisdom and mercy, and that every hardship carries within it the seeds of a lesson or blessing. Moreover, complete trust in Allah impacts our mental and emotional well-being. A heart that truly relies on Allah experiences a peace that the world cannot offer, Anxiety, fear, and worry lose their grip when we consciously remind ourselves that our Lord is watching over us, guiding us, and managing the affairs of the universe with infinite wisdom. This does not mean we ignore responsibilities or challenges. It means that after we have done what is within our power, we surrender the results to Allah with certainty and calm. Prayer, remembrance, and reflection strengthen this trust as we witness time and again how Allah's support manifests in ways we could not have anticipated. Each answered prayer, each moment of guidance, and each subtle protection becomes a reminder that trusting Allah is not a theoretical ideal, but a practical necessity for daily life. Complete trust in Allah also shapes the way we interact with others. When we trust that Allah will provide, protect, and guide, we are less likely to be consumed by envy, jealousy, or fear of loss. We can rejoice in others' successes without insecurity, and we can extend help and kindness without hesitation, knowing that our provision and protection are ultimately from Allah. This trust fosters generosity, humility, and patience. It allows us to approach relationships, work, and community life with confidence, knowing that we are supported by the most powerful and that our efforts will be rewarded even if the results are not immediately visible. In addition, trust in Allah cultivates gratitude. When we rely on Allah fully, we recognize that every blessing, every opportunity, and every moment of ease comes from Him. Gratitude reinforces trust because it reminds us that Allah's care is constant, that His attention is never diverted, and that our dependence on Him is not a weakness but a source of strength. Even during hardship, a trusting heart can find reasons for thankfulness, seeing the subtle ways Allah provides, protects, and nurtures. Complete trust in Allah is ultimately a continuous journey of the Earth. It is nurtured by reflection on His attributes, consistency in prayer, patience through trials, and reliance in every decision and action. As we practice this trust daily, it becomes a lens through which we view life, transforming anxiety into peace, uncertainty into hope, and challenges into opportunities for spiritual growth. Consistency in worship and remembrance is one of the most essential ways to live daily by faith. Faith does not remain strong by occasional effort or sporadic acts of devotion. It grows and flourishes through regular, deliberate practice. When a person prays consistently, reads the Quran daily, engages in dhikr, and remembers Allah in every action, their heart becomes anchored, their mind finds clarity, and their life gains purpose. Consistency creates a rhythm, a structure that allows faith to permeate every moment of our existence, so that it is not something we only turn to in times of difficulty, but a source of strength in every situation. Worship is not only about fulfilling ritual obligations, it is a lifestyle, a conscious alignment of our actions, thoughts, and intentions with the remembrance of Allah. Daily worship instills discipline, which is vital for spiritual growth. When we commit to the 5 daily prayers, for example, we structure our day around moments of connection with our Creator. These moments are opportunities to pause, reflect, and realign our intentions. Each prayer is a reminder of Allah's greatness, a reaffirmation of our dependence on Him, and a chance to seek guidance and forgiveness. Over time, the discipline of consistent worship strengthens our character, refines our focus, and trains us to approach life with patience, humility, and gratitude. The impact is not only spiritual, it extends into our emotional and mental well-being, providing peace, stability, and resilience against life's challenges. Consistency in remembrance, such as dhikr, supplication, and reflection on Allah's names also strengthens faith. When we regularly engage in dhikr, we are reminded that Allah is always present, always watching over us, and always responsive to our needs. This awareness transforms our daily actions as we begin to act with mindfulness and intention. For example, when a person is tempted to lie, cheat, or act hastily, the constant remembrance of Allah serves as a moral compass, guiding their behavior and preventing actions that may lead to regret or harm. Faith becomes practical and actionable, influencing our decisions, our interactions with others, and our response to challenges. Consistency in worship is particularly important during times of difficulty. It is easy to pray when life is smooth, when blessings are abundant, or when circumstances are favorable. The true test of faith is maintaining devotion when life is challenging, when despair threatens, or when outcomes are uncertain. Regular worship and remembrance during such times act as an anchor, preventing the heart from being overwhelmed by fear, frustration, or doubt. It is through this consistency that believers cultivate patience, trust, and hope, realizing that even the trials are opportunities to draw closer to Allah. Consistency also reinforces a sense of accountability and self-awareness. When we engage regularly in acts of worship, we are constantly reminded of our purpose, our values, and our responsibilities. Salah, fasting, charity, and other forms of worship are not merely duties, they are tools that shape our character, refine our intentions, and remind us of the transient nature of this world. By practicing these acts consistently, we develop a habit of turning to Allah in every circumstance, creating a constant dialogue with Him that nurtures faith and strengthens the soul. This habit eventually influences other areas of life, such as work, family, and social interactions. Because a person who remembers Allah is more conscious of integrity, kindness, and patience in all dealings. Another aspect of consistent worship is the cultivation of gratitude. When we consistently acknowledge Allah's presence through prayer and remembrance, we are continually reminded of the blessings in our lives. Even when circumstances appear difficult, this consistent practice trains the heart to see the positive, to be thankful for what is present, and to trust that Allah is providing what is best. Gratitude nurtures contentment, and contentment strengthens faith, creating a cycle in which regular worship adds to spiritual stability, inner peace, and a deeper connection with Allah. Consistency also builds spiritual resilience. Life is unpredictable, full of ups and downs, tests and challenges. A heart rooted in regular worship is better equipped to handle adversity because it is connected to a source of strength beyond the material world. When difficulties arise, the believer who consistently remembers Allah has a framework to cope, to seek guidance, and to maintain hope. This consistency is a protective shield, enabling faith to remain unshaken despite external circumstances. It ensures that the believer does not rely solely on personal strength or worldly solutions, but constantly turns to Allah for support and guidance. Daily worship and remembrance also create a ripple effect in our surroundings. A person who consistently engages in acts of devotion becomes a source of inspiration and positivity for those around them. Their calm demeanor, patience, kindness, and integrity reflect the impact of faith on their character. In this way, consistent worship is not only beneficial for the individual, but also for the broader community, creating an environment in which faith, hope, and moral values are reinforced collectively. Consistency does not require grand or elaborate acts. Small, regular, and sincere efforts are sufficient. A few minutes of reflection, a short dhikr, or a sincere prayer performed daily can have profound effects over time. What matters is sincerity, purpose, tense, and the intention to remain connected to Allah throughout life's journey. Through consistent worship and remembrance, faith becomes embedded in the fabric of daily life, shaping thoughts, guiding actions, and nurturing the soul. Practicing gratitude and patience through challenges is essential for anyone who wants to live daily by faith. Life is a mixture of ease and difficulty, comfort and trial, gain and loss. A person's faith is revealed not in moments of ease, but in the way they respond to challenges, setbacks, and disappointments. Gratitude and patience are like two wings of the believer's heart. Gratitude lifts the soul toward contentment, while patience anchors it during trials. Together, they ensure that faith remains strong, steady, and vibrant, even when circumstances are testing. Without gratitude, a person may become consumed by dissatisfaction and frustration, forgetting the blessings they already possess. Without patience, trials can overwhelm, leading to despair, fear, or rash decisions. To live daily by faith, one must cultivate both, understanding that each challenge is an opportunity for spiritual growth, and each blessing is a reason to praise Allah. Gratitude begins with recognition of the countless blessings that surround us, often unnoticed. Many people focus on what they lack rather than appreciating what they already have. We wake up in the morning with health, food, shelter, and the capacity to act, yet we take these gifts for granted. When a person begins to consistently acknowledge even the smallest blessings, the heart transforms. Gratitude is not just about saying Alhamdulillah with the tongue. It is a conscious awareness in the heart that Allah is providing, sustaining, and caring for us at every moment. This recognition nurtures humility, strengthens trust in Allah, and instills a sense of contentment that no worldly gain can replace. It allows the believer to see life as a continuous series of favors, even amidst trials, and to respond with patience and hope rather than frustration and despair. Patience, on the other hand, is the shield that protects the believer from being shaken by difficulties. Life is inherently unpredictable, and every person will encounter challenges, whether financial, relational, health-related, or spiritual. Patience is not simply waiting for problems to pass. It is enduring hardships with dignity, maintaining faith, and trusting that Allah's plan is perfect. It is the ability to remain steadfast when outcomes are delayed, to stay composed when faced with injustice, and to persevere when circumstances seem overwhelming. Patience requires discipline and conscious effort, because the human mind naturally gravitates toward complaint, frustration, or haste when confronted with adversity. Faith teaches that every challenge carries a hidden lesson, every difficulty has a purpose, and every trial is an opportunity to draw nearer to Allah. Gratitude and patience are interconnected. A grateful heart naturally cultivates patience because it recognizes that Allah's provision, wisdom, and timing are always perfect. When a person grateful for what they have, they are less likely to become anxious over what they do not possess. They trust that Allah knows what is best and that delays, obstacles, and challenges are part of a divine plan. Similarly, patience strengthens gratitude because enduring hardship with faith allows one to later appreciate Allah's mercy, guidance, and blessings even more deeply. Trials become moments of reflection, reminders of Allah's wisdom, and opportunities for spiritual refinement. Together, gratitude and patience create a resilient, balanced heart that can navigate life with peace, hope, and certainty. Practicing gratitude in daily life can take many forms. It can be as simple as starting the day by acknowledging the blessings that exist, offering thanks in prayer, or consciously appreciating the provision, relationships, and opportunities that surround us. It can include acts of kindness, giving charity, or supporting others, which are expressions of gratitude that go beyond words. Gratitude turns ordinary moments into spiritual practices, reminding the believer that every breath, every smile, and every opportunity is a gift from Allah. It transforms the mindset from scarcity to abundance, from complaint to contentment, and from anxiety to trust. Patience, meanwhile, is cultivated through conscious practice and reflection. It can be exercised by controlling anger, responding calmly to setbacks, and refraining from hasty decisions. Patience in relationships is demonstrated by forgiveness, understanding, and restraint. Patience in work or study is shown through persistence, discipline, and perseverance despite challenges. Even in health or financial matters, patience allows a believer to endure difficulty without despair, trusting that Allah's wisdom and timing are perfect. Importantly, patience is not passive resignation. It is an active engagement of the heart, mind, and spirit in alignment with faith. It requires remembering Allah, seeking His guidance, and maintaining hope while facing trials with dignity. Gratitude and patience also shape perspective. A person who lives with these qualities views life through a lens of faith rather than fear or complaint. They understand that setbacks are temporary, blessings are abundant, and every circumstance carries meaning. Gratitude reminds them of what is already good in their lives, while patience reassures them that challenges are not permanent and that Allah's wisdom governs all outcomes. This perspective creates emotional resilience, reduces anxiety, and promotes inner peace, allowing the believer to navigate life's uncertainties with confidence and calm. Both qualities also influence behavior toward others. A grateful person is more generous, compassionate, and kind, recognizing that Allah's blessings are to be shared. A patient person is more forgiving, understanding, and tolerant, able to respond to conflicts and challenges with wisdom rather than impulsiveness. Together, gratitude and patience not only nurture faith internally, but also manifest in actions that positively impact family, community, and society. These qualities become a source of inspiration and guidance for others, demonstrating the practical power of living by faith daily. Incorporating gratitude and patience into daily life requires awareness, intentionality, and consistent effort. It begins with small daily practices like thanking Allah upon waking, remaining calm in minor setbacks, acknowledging the provision of food and health, and reflecting on the lessons in difficulties. Over time, these habits strengthen the heart, cultivate a resilient mindset, and embed faith deeply into the believer's character and actions. Expressing faith through words and actions is a vital component of living daily by faith. Faith is not meant to remain hidden in the heart alone. It must manifest outwardly in our speech, conduct, and interactions with others. A person who truly lives by faith demonstrates their trust in Allah, not just internally, but through the way they speak, behave, and respond to the world around them. This expression transforms faith from an abstract belief into a practical living reality that influences every aspect of life. Words and actions are powerful because they reflect the state of the heart. When faith is alive, it naturally manifests in speech that uplifts, encourages, and inspires, and in actions that embody honesty, kindness, and integrity. Words are among the most immediate ways faith is expressed. The believer who speaks with faith is mindful of their language, avoiding gossip, slander, and negativity. They recognize that every word has consequences and that speech can either heal or harm, encourage or discourage, strengthen or weaken the hearts of others. Expressing faith through words means speaking truthfully, offering encouragement, giving sincere advice, and reminding others of Allah's mercy and guidance. It also involves self-talk, the inner dialogue we have with ourselves, which shapes our mindset and influences our choices. A believer's inner thoughts, guided by faith, become positive, hopeful, and solutions-oriented rather than fearful or defeatist. Faith expressed in words is also about declaration and affirmation. It is the courage to speak positively in the face of difficulty, to remind oneself and others of Allah's promises, and to reinforce trust in divine wisdom. For example, when someone faces financial hardship or uncertainty in life, speaking words of hope and trust in Allah is an active demonstration of faith. Saying, inshallah, Allah will provide a way, or alhamdulillah for His guidance and mercy, is not empty rhetoric. It is an expression of reliance, patience, and confidence that Allah is in control. Words rooted in faith have the power to transform attitudes, encourage perseverance, and shift perspectives from despair to hope. Actions, however, are the truest measure of faith. A person's faith is revealed in what they do, how they behave, and how they treat others. Faith expressed through actions encompasses honesty in business, fairness in dealings, kindness toward family and neighbors, and generosity toward those in need. Every deed, no matter how small, can reflect faith when performed with sincerity and mindfulness of Allah. Even simple acts like helping someone carry their burden, giving charity quietly, or offering a smile can serve as powerful expressions of living by faith. Actions rooted in faith are not done for recognition or reward from others, but from the awareness that Allah is watching and that He values sincere effort and intention above all. Expressing faith through actions also includes responding to challenges and injustice with patience and integrity. Life often presents situations that test our character, such as being wronged, criticized, or overlooked. A person who acts with faith does not react impulsively with anger, revenge, or resentment. Instead, they choose a path of righteousness, maintaining honesty, humility, and composure, demonstrating that their trust is in Allah and not in immediate worldly outcomes. This kind of expression of faith shapes character, builds resilience, and earns respect, both spiritually and socially. Another dimension of expressing faith through words and actions is the courage to act according to moral principles, even when it is difficult. Many people compromise their values to gain favor, convenience, or success. Living by faith requires making choices aligned with divine guidance, regardless of worldly pressure or temptation. For instance, a student may be tempted to cheat on an exam, or an employee may face pressure to act unethically. Yet faith inspires them to act with integrity, trusting that Allah sees all and will reward sincere adherence to principles. Actions grounded in faith are a testimony to others and a reflection of the strength, courage, and conviction that true belief provides. Faith expressed in daily life also includes consistency in worship through visible and practical means. Attending prayers, giving charity, showing respect to elders, helping the needy, and serving the community are all ways in which faith becomes tangible. The cumulative effect of these actions reinforces the believer's connection to Allah, strengthens their character, and demonstrates a life centered on divine guidance. When faith is expressed continuously, it becomes part of the person's identity, shaping habits, influencing decisions, and guiding behavior even in situations where no one is watching. Furthermore, expressing faith through words and actions impacts the environment and people around us. A believer who speaks and acts with faith inspires others, spreads positivity, and reinforces the values of honesty, trust, and compassion. Children learn from observing, colleagues notice integrity, and communities benefit from the kindness and fairness of those who live by faith. Words and actions become a means of dawah, a quiet, everyday demonstration of the beauty of a life guided by trust in Allah. Faith is not passive, it is active, dynamic, and transformative, affecting both the individual and the broader society. Living by faith in words and actions also means aligning intention with practice. It is not enough to act righteously outwardly if the heart is disconnected, nor is it sufficient to speak positively if deeds contradict those words. True expression of faith integrates belief, intention, speech, and behavior into a consistent whole. Every action becomes meaningful, every word becomes purposeful, and every choice reflects reliance on Allah, trust in His wisdom, and commitment to His guidance. Letting go of fear and worry and fully relying on Allah's plan is one of the most transformative aspects of living daily by faith. Many people live their lives burdened by anxiety, doubt, and fear of what the future holds. Yet true faith teaches that worry is unnecessary when we trust Allah completely. Fear often arises from a desire to control outcomes, from attachment to the material world, or from uncertainty about life's events. Faith liberates the heart from this fear because it is rooted in the knowledge that Allah is Al-Qadir, the All-Powerful, Al-Hakim, the All-Wise, and Al-Rahman, the Most Merciful. When a person understands and internalizes these attributes, they recognize that every aspect of their life is overseen by Allah, and that no harm or loss occurs except by His permission. This realization provides profound peace, transforming the heart from one weighed down by worry into one anchored in trust and serenity. Letting go of fear begins with awareness. A believer reflects on the countless times in their life when Allah protected them, guided them, or provided for them in ways they could not have anticipated. By remembering past blessings and the wisdom in past challenges, the heart is reminded that Allah's plan is always perfect. Every difficulty, every delay, and every setback is part of a greater design that may not be immediately visible, but ultimately leads to benefit, growth, or protection from harm. When we focus on these examples and maintain awareness of Allah's constant care, fear loses its grip, replaced by confidence in divine wisdom. Fully relying on Allah's plan requires a conscious decision to release the illusion of total control. Humans often attempt to manage every detail of their lives, creating anxiety when things do not go as expected. Faith teaches that while effort and planning are necessary, the outcome is ultimately belong to Allah. A person may study diligently for an exam, prepare for a presentation, or plan for financial security, yet after doing everything within their power, they must leave the results with Allah. This act of surrender is not a sign of weakness, but a manifestation of strong faith. It is an acknowledgement that Allah's knowledge and wisdom surpass human understanding, and that outcomes outside our control should not disturb our hearts. One practical way to let go of fear is through prayer and supplication. By turning to Allah in moments of uncertainty, a believer finds solace and reassurance. Prayer allows the heart to release tension, to seek guidance, and to reaffirm trust in Allah's plan. Supplication is both a conversation and a reminder. It strengthens the bond with the Creator while reinforcing the understanding that life is guided by His wisdom. Daily prayers, regular dhikr, and sincere dua remind the believer that they are never alone, that Allah is fully aware of their situation, and that divine assistance is always accessible. Faith without this connection can remain theoretical, but with prayer and remembrance, trust in Allah becomes living and active. Letting go of worry also requires adjusting perspective. Many people fear outcomes because they focus on what they lack, what could go wrong, or what they might lose. Faith shifts this focus, emphasizing reliance on Allah and gratitude for what has already been provided. The believer sees life a continuous flow of opportunities, challenges, and blessings under Allah's control. This perspective transforms fear into hope, doubt into certainty, and anxiety into patience. When a person understands that Allah has a plan tailored to their best interest, worry becomes unnecessary because they recognize that what comes their way is by divine wisdom and serves a greater purpose, whether immediately evident or revealed in the fullness of time. Letting go of fear and worry also strengthens decision-making. Fear often clouds judgment, leading to hesitation, procrastination, or rash decisions. When the heart is anchored in trust, decisions are made with clarity, courage, and confidence. The believer acts to the best of their ability, makes informed choices, and then places the outcomes in Allah's hands. This approach combines responsibility with reliance, action with surrender, and prudence with trust, ensuring that fear does not paralyze or dictate behavior. Living this way creates a sense of freedom, allowing the believer to move forward in life without being trapped by doubt, insecurity, or hesitation. Relying fully on Allah's plan also nurtures patience and resilience. Life's uncertainties are constant and setbacks are inevitable. When we let go of fear, we are better equipped to endure trials with dignity, seeing them as opportunities for growth and spiritual development. This reliance fosters hope and perseverance, knowing that every difficulty carries wisdom, every delay serves a purpose, and every challenge is part of Allah's perfect plan. Faith anchored in trust allows the believer to respond with composure rather than despair, with optimism rather than pessimism, and with determination rather than fear. Furthermore, releasing worry affects emotional and physical well-being. Chronic anxiety and fear create stress, tension, and fatigue, which can weaken both body and mind. When a believer consciously entrusts their affairs to Allah, they experience a profound peace that alleviates tension, clears the mind, and strengthens resilience. The heart is free to focus on productive actions, positive thoughts, and meaningful relationships, rather than being consumed by hypothetical fears and uncertainties. This sense of security stems not from external circumstances, but from the unwavering belief in Allah's oversight and care. Finally, letting go of fear and worry reinforces gratitude and humility. When we surrender to Allah's plan, we acknowledge our dependence on Him, recognize His wisdom, and appreciate His continuous guidance. Trusting Allah in daily life transforms the heart from one dominated by fear into one overflowing with hope, gratitude, and confidence. It reminds the believer that life is in divine hands, that every moment is purposeful, and that faith is most powerful when it guides both thought and action.